Rise, Relentless by Jackson Cole Bennett. There comes a time in every life when the comfort of routine begins to choke the spirit. Subtle, at first, a lingering frustration, a quiet unease, a feeling that something essential has been lost or never fully awakened. You might look around and realize that you're surrounded by motion, but not progress. Days pass, but growth feels stagnant. The world keeps spinning, but you're standing still. Rise, Relentless was born from that space of refusal to accept mediocrity and a burning hunger to live with intention, power, and fire. This book is not about motivation that fades by morning. It's not about temporary high notes or catchy phrases. This is about the deep shift that happens when you stop waiting for permission and decide to become unstoppable. Relentlessness isn't about being perfect or never failing. It's about never stopping. It's about standing back up every single time, bloodied, bruised, wiser. It's about developing the kind of grit that isn't shaken by storms or silenced by critics. We are living in a time when distraction is more accessible than discipline, when comfort is sold more than courage, and when the fear of failing holds more power than the thrill of trying. We scroll past our dreams, drown them in doubt, and delay them for some day that never seems to arrive. But deep down, we know this isn't the life we were meant to settle for. Each of us carries within us a voice that whispers, "There's more to give, more to become, more to fight for." That voice is your soul knocking down. Keep it waiting in these chapters. You will walk through the raw, honest terrain of growth. You will confront what's holding you back and dismantle it brick by brick. You'll learn how to create a mindset wired for progress, not perfection. You'll learn how to use your pain, your failures, your flaws as the very tools that forge your rise. And most of all, you'll realize that everything you've been waiting for, confidence, clarity, courage, is already within you. You just have to unleash it. This is not a one-time read. This is a fire you revisit, a mirror you hold up when the world tells you to shrink. This is the companion for the mornings you feel lost and the nights you feel alone. You'll find yourself in these pages because these words were built from the same grit you carry in your bones. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are a force waiting to be activated. Let this book be the spark that reminds you of your power. Let it challenge the stories you've told yourself about your worth, your past, your potential. Let it push you to rise not once, not twice, but relentlessly, every single day. Now is not the time to be timid. Now is not the time to negotiate with your greatness. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't made to survive. You were made to rise. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the edge. Welcome to Rise Relentless. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The spark within every fire begins with a spark. It's that initial flicker, so small, so easy to overlook, is what holds the potential to ignite everything. And inside you, whether dimmed by years of self-doubt or hidden beneath layers of responsibilities, there is a spark waiting to be awakened. It doesn't matter if you felt lost, uninspired, or stuck. The spark is still there. It always has been. The only question is whether you're ready to fan it into a flame. There's a moment in every life when you begin to question whether this is all there is. That moment might come during heartbreak, in the silence after failure, or on an ordinary afternoon when your heart whispers, "I want more." Not more in the material sense, but more meaning, more purpose, more life in your living. That's the spark. And too often, instead of listening, we bury it. We call it unrealistic, naive, or selfish. We dim our light to keep others comfortable, or to meet expectations that were never ours to carry. But the truth remains. Your spark is sacred. It's not there by accident. It's the call to become who you were meant to be before the world told you who you should be. This chapter is not about achieving anything yet. It's about recognition, awareness, awakening. Before you build habits, routines, or empires, you have to believe that you are worthy of more. You have to believe that you were born with something powerful inside you, something the world needs. That belief is the beginning. It's the foundation upon which everything else will be built, because no amount of motivation, strategies, or goal setting can replace the core truth that you matter, your story matters, and your rise matters. Maybe you've been waiting for permission, for someone to validate your dreams or tell you you're enough. But what if that person is you? What if the permission you're waiting for is already in your hands? That shift from seeking external approval to owning your internal truth is when the spark starts to burn. That's when you stop outsourcing your worth and begin taking responsibility for your potential. That's when you begin the climb. Even if you're trembling with fear, the spark within you might feel small now, especially if life has been harsh. You might be carrying wounds, regrets, and a heaviness that feels hard to shake. But sparks don't need perfection. They just need oxygen. They need space, honesty, and a refusal to give up. If you're breathing, you're capable of more. If you're still here, the fire hasn't gone out. And that means your story isn't finished. So how do you honor the spark? You start by paying attention. You start by listening to what excites you, moves you, angers you in a way that demands action. You stop silencing your inner voice for the sake of fitting in. You begin noticing what makes you come alive and giving it a place in your life, even if only for a few minutes a day. You begin writing your own script instead of reading from someone else's. The spark within you is the most powerful part of your story. It's not loud, but it is persistent. It doesn't scream, but it will never stop whispering. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier your life will feel. The more you listen, the lighter you'll become. This is the beginning of your relentless rise, not through force or perfection, but through the quiet courage of choosing yourself. You are not here to coast. You are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to rise boldly, fiercely, relentlessly. The spark within you is ready. Now, it's your turn. Let it burn. Chapter 2. Fueling the fire. Spark without fuel is just a flicker. It lights up for a moment and fades into darkness. But when you feed it, when you surround it with the right elements, it transforms into a roaring blaze. Passion, purpose, and persistence. These are the fuels that keep your fire alive. And while the spark is where the journey begins, what you feed it determines whether you burn out or blaze forward. We often wait for motivation to strike like lightning. We sit in stillness, hoping for inspiration to arrive, to lift us from our restlessness and move us into action. But motivation is not the fuel, it's the result. You don't wait to feel ready to begin. You begin, and through movement, the fuel flows. Energy is generated by effort. Clarity is born through action. Okay? And the fire inside you grows with every step you dare to take. Okay? Even when your legs are shaking. Fueling your fire means choosing daily disciplines that align with your vision. It means showing up even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient, because that's when it counts the most. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is not talent or luck. It's what they choose to do when no one is watching. It's waking up early to train your body and your mind. It's working on your dream after the world tells you to be realistic. It's saying yes to discomfort over and over, because comfort doesn't build character, resistance does. There will be days when the flame flickers, when you feel drained and discouraged. On those days, you must become your own source of fire. You must return to your why. Not the shallow reasons, not fame, money, or validation, but the soul deep reasons. Why did you begin? What truth are you chasing? What future are you building? That clarity is your fuel. It's what keeps you going when when you want to quit. And if your why is strong enough, no excuse will be stronger. You must also be mindful of the people and environments you surround yourself with. A strong flame can still be smothered by toxic air. Negativity, doubt, fear, they're like cold water thrown on your passion. Surround yourself with those who fan your flames, not extinguish them. Find people who challenge you to grow, who remind you of your greatness when you forget. And just as importantly, be that person for yourself. Speak powerfully, think intentionally. Fuel your mind with thoughts that elevate your spirit, not ones that deplete it. Fueling your fire also means taking care of your vessel, your body, your health, your rest. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Relentlessness does not mean self-destruction. The most powerful fires burn steadily, not wildly. Feed yourself well. Move your body. Get sleep. These are not side tasks. They are survival tools. Your fire cannot blaze if the wood is weak. Strengthen the foundation, and the flame will follow. And finally, remember that fire spreads. When you burn bright, you light up everything around you. Your discipline inspires others. Your energy lifts rooms. Your commitment makes mediocrity uncomfortable. People notice, even if they never say it out loud. And sometimes, your eyes give someone else permission to begin their own. This chapter is about responsibility. The responsibility to protect, nurture, and expand your fire. You are the guardian of your potential. You're the one who decides whether your days are filled with excuses or progress. You hold the match and the fuel. No one can do the burning for you, so rise with purpose. Show up with power. And fuel the fire like your future depends on it, because it does. This is your time to burn, not briefly, but relentlessly. Chapter 3, Break the Mold. Asterisk. From the moment we're born, the world begins shaping us. Family, culture, education, media, they all start to carve expectations into our identity. We're handed labels, roles, rules, and a version of life we're supposed to follow. Be this, do that, don't stand out, don't dream too big. Over time, we begin to mistake those molds for who we really are. We shrink to fit them. We conform to survive. But deep within, our true self whispers a different truth. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to break the mold. Breaking the mold is not rebellion for the sake of defiance. It's liberation for the sake of authenticity. It's recognizing that the life you've been living might be someone else's idea of success, not your own. It's questioning the scripts that were handed to you before you had the chance to write your own. It's courageously stepping out of line to find your own rhythm, your own values, and your own voice. The first mold most people struggle with is the one created by fear of judgment, a failure of not being accepted. We're taught early to avoid risk and to chase approval. But here's the truth. No one ever rose to greatness by staying safe. Every person who has ever inspired you had to choose courage over comfort. They had to break through layers of self-doubt and societal pressure to become who they were born to be. And so will you. To break the mold, you must first become aware of it. What limiting beliefs have you accepted as facts? What unspoken rules are you following without question? Who told you that you couldn't? Who told you that you shouldn't? These are the questions that expose the walls around you. Quit. Once you see them, you gain the power to tear them down. Understand this, you were not born to replicate someone else's story. You are not here to live a copy-paste existence. The world does not need another version of what already exists. It needs your originality, your experiences, your perspective, your dreams. They are unique for a reason. The more you conform, the more the world loses the gift of your authenticity. So give yourself permission to be different, to think differently, to build a life that may not make sense to others, but makes perfect sense to your soul. Breaking The mold also means redefining success. For many, success has been shaped by external metrics: money, status, followers, degrees. But none of these define the depths of a life well lived. True success is internal. It's the peace that comes from alignment, the joy that comes from contribution, and the pride that comes from effort. You get to choose what success looks like for you. Damn, once you do, every step forward becomes an act of rebellion against a system that told you to settle. Of course, breaking the mold is not easy. It requires sacrifice. It may create friction. Not everyone will understand your path. Some will try to pull you back into the box because your freedom challenges their comfort. But you must continue, not just for you, but for everyone who's still stuck. When you rise, you create a new possibility. You show others that it's okay to be real, to be raw, to be free. So today, ask yourself, what mold am I ready to break? What part of me have I hidden, ignored, or diluted to keep others happy? What would my life look like if I stopped trying to fit and started trying to fly? The answers may scare you, but they will also set you free. Your spark is burning. Your fire is fueled. Now it's time to step into the light of your own truth. Not later. Not someday. Now, this is the chapter where you break the mold and begin to build the masterpiece that is entirely, unapologetically you. Chapter 4. Relentless Mindset, the strongest force behind every rise. Every triumph and every transformation isn't physical ability or external support, it's mindset. The way you think shapes the way you live. And the relentless mindset is not about arrogance or blind positivity. It is about resilience, clarity, and a deep refusal to give up, no matter how long the path or how steep the climb. This mindset is built, not born. It's carved from challenges, layered with discipline, and held together by belief. A relentless mindset begins with a decision. It's the decision to stop being a prisoner of circumstances and to start being the architect of your future. It's deciding that failure is not final, that pain is not punishment, and that obstacles are not reasons to quit. They are invitations to grow. Most people never make this decision. They drift, they react, they let life happen to them. But the relentless don't wait, they create. They don't complain, they adapt. And they don't break, they bend, rebuild, and come back stronger. At the heart of this mindset is one unshakable truth. You're in control of your response. You may not control every storm, but you control whether you drown or learn to swim. Life will test you through loss, disappointment, rejection, and failure. But every test is an opportunity to sharpen your mind. When you start seeing challenges as training rather than punishment, you unlock the real power of relentless thinking. One of the biggest enemies of a relentless mindset is the voice of doubt, the one that says, you're not enough, or you'll never make it. Everyone hears it, but the relentless refuse to feed it. They counter it with truth, action, and repetition. The more you train your mind to speak strength over fear, the more that voice loses its grip. Affirmations, journaling, meditation, visualizations. These are not just self-help cliches. They are daily tools for mental conditioning. Okay? They rewire your brain for belief. Another key to cultivating a relentless mindset is commitment. Okay, that's it. About wishing or wanting. It's about doing, daily, without excuse. When you're relentless, you don't need perfect conditions. You don't wait for motivation. You train yourself to take the next step, even when you're tired, uncertain, or uninspired. Momentum is built in moments of resistance, where most people stop. That's where you begin. Comparison is another trap that steals mental power. The relentless know that their journey is their own. They don't measure success by someone else's timeline. They stay focused on progress, not perfection. On their lane, not someone else's pace. You don't have to be the best, just better than you were yesterday. Growth is your only competition. Equally important is learning how to manage your inner environment. Thoughts are seeds. What you plant and water grows. If you let negativity, fear, and self-pity take root, they will choke your vision. But if you plant gratitude, purpose, and perspective, your mind becomes fertile ground for greatness. It's the relentless guard, their mental garden. They are selective about what they consume: books, conversations, content, because they understand that mindset is shaped by what surrounds it. Relentlessness is not a sprint, it's a mindset for the marathon. It's built in the quiet hours when no one's watching. It's forged in failure and fired in persistence. It's not about always winning, it's about always returning, showing up, trying again, leaving in the face of silence, and rising with purpose, even after the world said, "Sit down." You already have what it takes. The mindset of a warrior lives inside you. It just needs to be awakened, trained, and protected. This chapter is your turning point. It's where you stop being driven by circumstance and start driving your destiny. The battle is in the mind. It's time to win it. Relentlessly. Chapter 4. Relentless Mindset. Asterisk. The strongest force behind every rise, every triumph, and every transformation isn't physical ability or external support. It's mindset. The way you think shapes the way you live. And the relentless mindset is not about arrogance or blind positivity. It is about resilience, clarity, and a deep refusal to give up, no matter how long the path or how steep the climb. This mindset is built, not born. It's carved from challenges, layered with discipline, and held together by belief. A relentless mindset begins with a decision. It's the decision to stop being a prisoner of circumstances and to start being the architect of your future. It's deciding that failure is not final, that pain is not punishment, and that obstacles are not reasons to quit. They are invitations to grow. Most people never make this decision. They drift, they react, they let life happen to them. But the relentless don't wait, they create. They don't complain, they adapt. And they don't break, they bend, rebuild, and come back stronger. At the heart of this mindset is one unshakable truth. You are in control of your response. You may not control every storm, but you control whether you drown or learn to swim. Life will test you through loss, disappointment, rejection, and failure. But every test is an opportunity to sharpen your mind. When you start seeing challenges as training rather than punishment, you unlock the real power of relentless thinking. One of the biggest enemies of a relentless mindset is the voice of doubt. One that says, "You're not enough," or "You'll never make it." Everyone hears it, but the relentless refuse to feed it. They counter it with truth, action, and repetition. The more you train your mind to speak strength over fear, the more that voice loses its grip. Affirmations, journaling, meditation, visualization, these are not just self-help cliches. They are daily tools for mental conditioning. They rewire your brain for belief. Another key to cultivating a relentless mindset is commitment. This isn't about wishing or wanting. It's about doing, daily, without excuse. When you're relentless, you don't need perfect conditions. You don't wait for motivation. You train yourself to take the next step, even when you're tired, uncertain, or uninspired. Momentum is built in moments of resistance. That's where most people stop. That's where you begin. Comparison is another trap that steals mental power. The relentless know that their journey is their own. They don't measure success by someone else's timeline. They stay focused on progress, not perfection. Okay? On their lane, not someone else's pace. You don't have to be the best, just better than you were yesterday. Growth is your only competition. Equally important is learning how to manage your inner environment. Thoughts are seeds. What you plant and water grows. If you let negativity, fear, and self-pity take root, they will choke your vision. But if you plant gratitude, purpose, and perspective, your mind becomes fertile ground for greatness. The relentless guard their mental garden. Okay, they're selective about what they consume: books, conversations, content, because they understand. That mindset is shaped by what surrounds it. Relentlessness is not a sprint, it's a mindset for the marathon. It's built in the quiet hours when no one's watching. It's forged in failure and fired in persistence. It's not about always, when it's about always returning, showing up, trying again, believing in the face of silence, and rising with purpose, even after the world said, "Sit down, you already have what it takes." The mindset of a warrior lives inside you. It just needs to be awakened, trained, and protected. This chapter is your turning point. It's where you stop being driven by circumstance and start driving your destiny. The battle is in the mind. It's time to win it relentlessly. Chapter 6. Embrace the struggle. Struggle is not the enemy. It is the doorway. It is the silent teacher that shows up when you begin to climb, when you dare to want more, when you move beyond your limits and challenge what you thought you were capable of. Struggle doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to define you, to shape the person who is meant to rise, not just once, but relentlessly. Most people spend their lives running from struggle. They avoid discomfort, sidestep challenge, and retreat at the first sign of resistance. But here's the truth. The things you want most, growth, confidence, strength, clarity, are born in the place most people fear to go. There is no greatness without struggle. There is no evolution without effort. Every hero, every leader, every person you admire has walked through the fire. And now it's your turn. Struggle strips away what is unnecessary. Okay? It peels back the layers of ego, distraction, and illusion, leaving only what is real. Okay? It reveals your weaknesses, yes, but also your strength. It shows you the truth about who you are when things aren't easy. That truth might scare you at first. It might humble you, but it will also empower you. Because once you see what you're made of, once you survive what you thought you couldn't, you realize you are far more powerful than you ever believed. Embracing the struggle means choosing to lean into discomfort rather than escape it. It means welcoming the resistance because you understand that it's sculpting something within you. The soreness after a workout, the silence after rejection, the loneliness of chasing a dream no one understands. These are not punishments. They are proof that you are growing. They are signs that you are alive and on the edge of something greater. Struggle teaches patience. It reminds you that anything worth building takes time. In a world addicted to instant gratification, struggle slows you down and forces you to be present with the process. It makes you confront your impatience, your fears, your tendency to quit. And if you stay with it, if you hold the line when it would be easier to run, struggle rewards you with resilience. There is also beauty in struggle. It's the place where empathy is born. When you've been through pain, you understand people differently. You listen deeper. You lead with compassion. Your heart opens because it's been broken. And in that breaking, something more honest, more human, more powerful emerges. But to truly embrace struggle, you must change the story you tell yourself about it. Stop calling it failure. Stop seeing it as weakness. Start recognizing it as the fire that's forging your future. Every time you get back up, you are declaring to the world and to yourself that you are not done yet. That you are still fighting, still believing, still rising. Your struggle is your strength in disguise. It is preparing you for the weight of the dream you carry. It is sharpening your vision, your focus, your will. It is not a detour, it is the path. And the more you embrace it, the less power it has to intimidate you. You stop fearing the hard days because you understand they are the foundation for your greatest days. So the next time life gets heavy, the next time the journey gets hard, don't retreat. Don't run. Pause. Breathe. Remind yourself This is where the real growth happens. This is where I become who I was born to be. This is not the end. This is the rising. And as you rise through your struggle, you'll look back, not with regret, but with gratitude. Because the very thing you thought would break you became the reason you never gave up. Embrace the struggle. It is shaping your story. It is building your strength. It is leading you to relentless greatness. Chapter 7. No more excuses. Asterisk. There is a moment in every relentless journey when you must stand face to face with your own excuses and decide, once and for all, that they no longer get to run your life. Excuses are comfortable. They are clever. They sound reasonable, even logical. But make no mistake, they are the chains that keep you from your potential. They masquerade as protection, when in truth, they are the prison walls that prevent growth. We all make excuses. I don't have time. I don't have the money. I'm too tired. I'm not ready. These phrases become our default response to fear. They let us off the hook. They delay our dreams just long enough to convince us that we'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week, then next year, and eventually a forgotten life. You must understand this. No excuse, no matter how valid it seems, will ever take you where you want to go. The moment you take full ownership of your life is the moment your rise truly begins. Responsibility is the antidote to excuses. Not about blaming yourself for everything that happens, it's about claiming power over how you respond. Life may hand you unfair circumstances. People may betray you. Opportunities may be limited, but how you think, how you act, and how you show up, those are always within your control. Excuses often come from fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being seen, trying, and not succeeding. It's the fear of not being enough. But here's the truth. Failure doesn't kill dreams, excuses do. Every time you use an excuse, you tell your future that it's not worth the fight. You let the present version of you, the one ruled by doubt, override the future version that could be powerful, purposeful, and free. The shift happens when you get brutally honest with yourself. When you stop sugarcoating your choices and start confronting your patterns. Ask yourself, what excuse have I repeated so many times that I've started believing it as truth? What would happen if I dropped that excuse today, just for one day, and took action anyway? The results might surprise you, not because they're dramatic overnight, but because they start building something new inside you. Confidence, clarity, momentum. When you live without excuses, you live with freedom. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop blaming the economy, your upbringing, your education, or your environment. You start creating results with what you have, from where you are, with who you are right now. It's not about having everything figured out, it's about showing up anyway. Progress is not made in the land of perfection. It's made in the arena of effort. Excuses also thrive in comparison. When you look at others who seem further ahead, it's easy to shrink into smallness. But what you don't see are their battles, their scars, the silent hours they spent in struggle. Stop comparing. You're beginning to someone else's middle. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to begin, again without excuses this time. Let this chapter be your turning point. Draw a line in the sand and say, no more. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more delaying the life I know I'm capable of living. Your rise requires responsibility. Your dreams require discipline. And your power begins the moment you stop making excuses and start making moves. You don't need more time. You need more commitment. You don't need more motivation. You need more truth. Excuses are heavy. They weigh down your energy, your focus, and your potential. Let them go. Lighten your load. Step forward, not when it's easy, but because it matters. No more excuses. Only progress. Only purpose. Only the relentless rise. Chapter 7. No more excuses. Asterisk. There is a moment in every relentless journey when you must stand face to face with your own excuses and decide, once and for all, that they no longer get to run your life. Excuses are comfortable. They are clever. They sound reasonable, even logical. But make no mistake, they are the chains that keep you from your potential. They masquerade as protection, when in truth, they are the prison walls that prevent growth. We all make excuses. I don't have time. I don't have the money. I'm too tired. I'm not ready. These phrases become our default response to fear. They let us off the hook. They delay our dreams just long enough to convince us that we'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week, then next year, and eventually a forgotten life. You must understand this. No excuse, no matter how valid it seems, will ever take you where you want to go. The moment you take full ownership of your life is the moment your rise truly begins. Responsibility is the antidote to excuses. Not about blaming yourself for everything that happens, it's about claiming power over how you respond. Life may hand you unfair circumstances. People may betray you. Opportunities may be limited, but how you think, how you act, and how you show up, those are always within your control. Excuses often come from fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being seen, trying, and not succeeding. It's the fear of not being enough. Okay, but here's the truth. Failure doesn't kill dreams, excuses do. Every time you use an excuse, you tell your future that it's not worth the fight. You let the present version of you, the one ruled by doubt, override the future version that could be powerful, purposeful, and free. The shift happens when you get brutally honest with yourself. When you stop sugarcoating your choices and start confronting your patterns. Ask yourself, what excuse have I repeated so many times that I've started believing it as truth? What would happen if I dropped that excuse today, just for one day, and took action anyway? The results might surprise you, not because they're dramatic overnight, but because they start building something new inside you. Confidence, clarity, momentum. When you live without excuses, you live with freedom. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop blaming the economy, your upbringing, your education, or your environment. You start creating results with what you have, from where you are, with who you are right now. It's not about having everything figured out, it's about showing up anyway. Progress is not made in the land of perfection. It's made in the arena of effort. Excuses also thrive in comparison. When you look at others who seem further ahead, it's easy to shrink into smallness. But what you don't see are their battles, their scars, the silent hours they spent in struggle. Stop comparing. You're beginning to someone else's middle. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to begin, again without excuses this time. Let this chapter be your turning point. Draw a line in the sand and say, no more. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more delaying the life I know I'm capable of living. Your rise requires responsibility. Your dreams require discipline. And your power begins the moment you stop making excuses and start making moves. You don't need more time. You need more commitment. You don't need more motivation. You need more truth. Excuses are heavy. They weigh down your energy, your focus, and your potential. Let them go. Lighten your load. Step forward, not when it's easy, but because it matters. No more excuses. Only progress. Only purpose. Only the relentless rise. Chapter 8. Chasing discomfort. Comfort is seductive. It promises ease, safety, and the illusion of peace. But comfort is also a cage, soft and quiet, but a cage nonetheless. It lulls you into passivity, convinces you that what you have is good, enough, and makes you forget what greatness feels like. To rise relentlessly, you must unlearn the addiction to comfort and replace it with a hunger for growth. Growth, after all, does not happen inside your comfort zone. It begins the moment you step beyond it. Chasing discomfort means choosing challenge over ease, action over hesitation, and courage over fear. It means running toward the things that make you nervous, the conversations that stretch you, and the goals that seem just out of reach. It's not about seeking pain for the sake of suffering. It's about understanding that the best version of yourself lives on the other side of difficulty. Comfort is not the enemy. It is the training ground of transformation. Every breakthrough you desire, whether physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, requires a confrontation with discomfort. Want to get in shape? You'll have to push your body. Want to become more confident? You'll need to face rejection and uncertainty. Want to start a business, speak your truth, or chase a dream? You'll be required to take risks, endure failure, and navigate chaos. Discomfort will be your constant companion, and if you learn to embrace it, it will become your greatest teacher. The problem is that we've been taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. We numb it with distractions, delay it with procrastination, and excuse it with false logic. But avoiding discomfort doesn't eliminate it, it just postpones it. And when it returns, it's heavier, more overwhelming, and more embedded in our lives. The courageous choice is to meet it head on, to lean into the tension, and to grow stronger through it. Chasing discomfort is also about emotional bravery. It's about being honest with yourself and others, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about asking for help when pride tells you not to. It's about forgiving, healing, letting go, and starting over again and again. Emotional discomfort is often more difficult than physical discomfort, but it's just as necessary for growth. When you choose to feel rather than flee, you begin to rise. There's a strange freedom that comes when you stop fearing discomfort. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan. You start where you are, with what you have, and you move forward, no matter how messy it feels. Every time you do something uncomfortable, wake up early, speak up, commit to discipline. You cast a vote for the person you're becoming. And with enough votes, that person becomes your reality. It's important to note that chasing discomfort doesn't mean burning out. It means expanding your limits wisely, intentionally, and consistently. It means challenging yourself without destroying yourself. It's the practice of being both soft and strong, patient and driven, grounded and fearless. Discomfort, when pursued with purpose, creates resilience, not recklessness. Your relationship with discomfort will determine your level of growth. The more willing you are to feel it, the more capable you become. Most people spend their lives avoiding the very thing that would set them free. But not you. Not anymore. You've seen what comfort leads to: stagnation, regret, a quiet kind of suffering. Now you're choosing something different. You're choosing to rise. So when fear shows up, when uncertainty knocks, when the path ahead looks steep, don't run. Step forward. Lean in. Smile, even, because you know something most people don't. The discomfort you feel today is shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. And every time you embrace it, you get closer to the relentless version of yourself you were always meant to become. Chapter 9, The Discipline. Discipline is the engine of every relentless rise. It's not flashy, it's not thrilling, it won't trend or get applause, but it's the force that turns ambition into achievement. Talent may give you a head start. Motivation might spark the journey. And only discipline keeps you moving when the excitement fades, when the path gets rough, and when the voice in your head tells you to quit. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about showing up for yourself day after day, especially when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early, not because it's easy, but because your goals deserve the extra hour. Saying no to distractions, not because they aren't tempting, but because your purpose is too valuable to waste. Discipline is making a promise to yourself and keeping it again and again and again. What makes discipline so powerful is that it is completely within your control. Okay? You don't need permission, connections, or ideal conditions to practice discipline. You need only the decision to commit. One day, then another. And over time, those days build into something unshakable. Share. Your habits become your strength. Your routines become your momentum. And your discipline becomes your identity. The truth is, most people don't struggle because they lack goals. They struggle because they lack structure. They live by moods instead of mission. They wait for motivation to strike, not realizing that it's discipline that creates momentum. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. But if you move with discipline, readiness will follow. Discipline builds the foundation that motivation can stand on. It's the system that turns vision into results. And yet, discipline is not built overnight. It's a process. You start small. You pick one promise, one habit, and you honor it. 8. You prove to yourself that you are capable of follow-through. Then you stack another and another. Over time, these habits harden into character. Your word becomes bond. Your actions become proof, and your life begins to reflect your values, not just your wishes. One of the most misunderstood aspects of discipline is the belief that it restricts freedom. The opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain more of it. When you are disciplined with your health, you gain energy and confidence. You are disciplined with your focus. You gain clarity and results. Discipline doesn't take life from you. It gives it back to you in full color and full power. But discipline also requires self-awareness. You must know your triggers. You must understand your tendencies. Are you more productive in the morning or night? Do you get distracted by noise, by people, by your own overthinking? Discipline doesn't mean following someone else's perfect schedule. It means designing your own and sticking to it. Okay? It means creating an environment that supports your success, not sabotages it. There will be days when you slip, days when you miss the mark, and that's okay. Discipline is not about being unbreakable. It's about being unshakable. When you fall, you don't spiral. You reset. You learn. You begin again. That's what separates the relentless from the rest. It's not their ability to avoid failure, okay? But their ability to rise after it. And perhaps the most beautiful part of discipline is that it becomes a form of self-respect. Each time you follow through, each time you keep going, you are telling yourself, I matter. My dreams matter. My time matters. You build a relationship with yourself that is rooted in integrity. And that relationship becomes the foundation of every success that follows. So as you continue this journey, let discipline be your engine. Let it carry you on the hard days, guide you through the doubt, and push you past the limits you thought you had. With discipline, you don't just rise. Once, you rise again. You rise always. You rise relentless. Chapter 10. Confidence by action. Confidence is not something you are born with. It's not something granted by genetics, luck, or circumstances. Confidence is built brick by brick, step by step, through action. It's through doing the thing that scares you again and again until fear no longer has the final say. You don't wait for confidence before you begin. You build it by beginning. So many people spend their lives paralyzed, waiting for the day they'll feel ready. But readiness is a myth. If you wait until you feel brave, perfect, or totally prepared, you'll never move. The truth is, action creates confidence. The smallest step forward chips away at doubt. The tiniest decision to try becomes the first thread in a stronger, bolder version of yourself. The more you act, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable. Confidence isn't the cause of action, it's the result. The problem is that we've been taught to believe that confidence is a feeling. something that arrives fully formed like a lightning bolt of assurance. But real confidence doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. It's built in the moments when you step outside your comfort zone and show up anyway. It's what happens when you give a presentation with your hands shaking, when you hit publish despite your self-doubt, when you say yes to the opportunity, even while your mind races with what ifs each time you choose action over fear. You rewire your brain. You replace the story of I can't with evidence that you can. You teach yourself to trust your own voice, to believe in your ability to figure things out. Confidence is a memory of success, a collection of proof that you've overcome before and can do it again. That's why it grows stronger the more you stretch yourself. It's also important to understand that confidence doesn't mean you never feel doubt. It doesn't mean you never feel nervous. It means you've learned how to move forward anyway. Confidence is not loud, doesn't have to shout or dominate. True confidence is quiet and steady. It's the calm belief that no matter what comes, you'll handle it. That belief is earned through repetition, through resilience, through showing up again and again. You don't need to leap to build confidence. You need to take one small step. A micro-action, something manageable, yet challenging enough to stretch you. Send the email, have the conversation. Take the class, hit record. Every act of courage, no matter how small, adds to your confidence bank. Over time, those little acts of bravery compound into something powerful and lasting. Comparison is one of the biggest killers of confidence. When you measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel, you diminish your own progress. Confidence comes from personal growth, not from outperforming others. Focus on your own lane. Celebrate your own wins. Progress is deeply personal. When you honor your unique journey, confidence becomes a natural byproduct. Another key to building confidence is keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you say you'll do something and you do it, to build trust. And self-trust is the foundation of unshakable confidence. It's not about grand gestures. It's about daily integrity. When your actions align with your words, you begin to see yourself as reliable, capable, and strong. You will have setbacks. You will question yourself. But every setback is a setup for greater confidence. It's a reminder that growth is not linear, it's layered. You're not expected to have it all figured out. You're expected to keep going. Confidence lives in momentum, in movement, in forward motion. So stop waiting. Start acting. Speak, even if your voice trembles. Move, even if your steps are unsure. Try, even if you might fail. Because with every action, your confidence rises. Not perfectly, not instantly, but relentlessly. And in that rise, you'll become the boldest version of yourself, the one who doesn't just dream, but dares. Chapter 11. Kill the noise, asterisk. The world is loud. It bombards you with opinions, distractions, expectations, and endless comparisons. Every second, you're being pulled in a dozen directions, scrolling through curated lives, listening to other people's fears, drowning in external noise. And in that chaos, it becomes almost impossible to hear the one voice that matters most, your own. If you want to rise relentlessly, you must learn to kill the noise. Noise isn't just sound, it's anything that clutters your mind, distorts your vision, or drowns out your clarity. It can be the opinions of people who don't understand your mission. It can be the pressure to meet invisible timelines. It can be the fear-based thoughts that scream louder than your dreams. Noise is everywhere, and if you don't silence it, it will silence your purpose. The first kind of noise is external. These are the voices telling you who you should be, how you should live, and what you should want. From parents to teachers to influencers to strangers online, the world is constantly offering scripts for your life, too. But just because a voice is loud doesn't mean it's true. You must learn to question it all. Does this belief serve my highest self? The Does this opinion align with my purpose? You are not obligated to follow a path just because it's familiar or approved. You have the right and the responsibility to choose your own direction. Another form of external noise is digital distraction. We live in an age of constant connection and perpetual stimulation. Our phones are filled with alerts, messages, endless content feeds. And while these tools can serve us, they often steal our focus, our peace, and our presence. You can't hear your intuition when you're constantly tuned into everyone else's life. Okay, that's why moments of silence, solitude, and disconnection are not luxuries, they're necessities. Kill the noise by turning down the volume of the world. Take breaks from screens. Spend time in nature. Listen to stillness. That's where your clarity lives. But perhaps the most dangerous noise is internal. The thoughts that loop in your mind telling you you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. These thoughts often come from old wounds, past failures, or fears inherited from others. If left unchecked, they become your reality. You begin to believe that your doubts are facts and your insecurities are truth. Killing this noise doesn't mean pretending those thoughts don't exist. It means refusing to give them power. You observe them without attachment. You question their source. And then you replace them with truth. I am worthy. I am strong. I am becoming. To kill the noise, you must build a filter one that protects your mind like a gate protects a city. Be intentional about what you let in. Choose content that inspires you, not content that triggers insecurity. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to rise, not ones who keep you small. Speak words that empower your future, not echo your fears. Everything you consume, visually, verbally, emotionally, either fuels your growth or feeds your doubts. Choose wisely. Silence is a powerful practice. It is not emptiness, it is full of answers. Create time each day to just be, teased, without distraction, to breathe, to listen. In the beginning, it may feel uncomfortable, but over time, that silence becomes sacred. It becomes your sanctuary in a world that never stops talking. In that quiet space, you reconnect with your vision, your goals. Your truth, your rise will require focus, and focus is impossible in a mind filled with noise. Kill the noise so you can hear the whisper of your calling. Kill the noise so you can feel the pulse of your passion. Kill the noise so you can finally hear the sound of your own power rising. Because once the noise is gone, what remains is your voice, clear, certain, and relentless. Chapter 12. Master your time. Time is the one resource you cannot earn back. Once it's spent, it's gone. Unlike money, status, or even energy, time is both your most limited and your most valuable asset. And yet, most people treat it casually, even carelessly, letting it slip through their fingers in distraction, procrastination, and indecision. If you want to rise relentlessly, you must become a master of your time, not a prisoner of it. Mastering your time doesn't mean squeezing productivity into every waking moment. It means aligning your days with your deepest priorities. It means living on purpose rather than by accident. It's the art of saying yes only to what matters and unapologetically saying no to everything that doesn't. Most importantly, it's about understanding that every hour is a vote for the future you're building or the one you're letting slip away. People often say, I don't have time. But the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. What we really mean is, it's not a priority. And when you look at how you spend your hours, what you say yes to, what you scroll through, what you delays, you'll find the real story of what your life is becoming. Mastery begins with awareness. Start by observing your time, not judging it. Track where your minutes go. What steals them? What feeds them? What leaves you empty? And what leaves you inspired? Once you have clarity, the next step is intention. Every day, ask yourself, what are my top 3 priorities today? Not 10, not 20, it's 3. Because focus is power. And when you give your energy to a few meaningful tasks rather than many meaningless ones, you create progress, not just motion. The relentless don't aim to do everything, they aim to do what matters most, consistently and excellently. Another key to mastering your time is eliminating distractions. We live in a world that profits off your attention. Social media, news cycles, endless notifications, these are designed to hijack your focus. You must reclaim it. Turn off alerts, set boundaries, design your environment for deep work. Phone should not be the first thing you touch in the morning or the last thing you hold at night. Create sacred time in your day where the outside world doesn't exist and your inner world can rise. But time mastery isn't just about productivity. It's also about recovery. Rest is not weakness. It's strategy. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Schedule time to move, to breathe, to recharge. Sleep like your dreams depend on it, because they do. Take breaks with intention. Not to escape, but to come back stronger. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Real success is sustainable. The discipline of time is also the discipline of decision. Learn to say no to distractions, to obligations that don't align, to people who drain your light. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Choose wisely. Your future is being built one decision at a time. Protect your calendar like you protect your dreams. And remember this, time mastery is not about being busy, it's about being present. You can have a full schedule and an empty life. Or you can have a focused schedule and a life filled with meaning. Be where your feet are. When you work, work fully. When you rest, rest deeply. When you connect, connect with heart. Presence turns minutes into moments and days into a life worth living. You won't always get it perfect. You will waste time. You will fall behind. But don't let that become your story. Learn, adjust, begin again. That's the relentless way. Master your time and you master your life. You create momentum. You build legacy. Rise not chaotically, but with calm, consistent purpose. One day at a time. 1 hour at a time. 1 breath at a time. Relentless. Chapter 1, 3 Fail forward fast. Failure is not the end. It is the beginning of mastery. It is not your enemy. It is your most honest teacher. When you shift your perspective on failure, everything in your life begins to change. You stop avoiding risk. You stop fearing mistakes. You stop hesitating to try. And instead, you start growing, evolving, becoming. If you want to rise relentlessly, you must learn how to fail fast, forward, and without shame. Our culture treats failure like a scarlet letter, a sign of weakness, a reason to stop. But every successful person you admire has a trail of failure behind them. Not 1, not 10, dozens, hundreds. They've fallen, stumbled, been rejected, laughed at, misunderstood, and counted out. What separates them is not talent, it's their response. They used failure as fuel, as feedback, as direction. They failed forward. Failing forward means you see failure not as a dead end, but as a redirection. It's a signal, not a sentence. It tells you what didn't work, not who you are. It gives you data, shows you your blind spots, your gaps, your opportunities. When you're brave enough to listen to what failure is trying to teach you, it becomes a ladder, not a trap. Most powerful part of failing fast is the speed. Too many people fail once and freeze. They sit in the rubble of a broken dream and overanalyze every crack. They fear another failure so much that they stop moving. But failing fast means you don't dwell. You don't drag out disappointment. You extract the lesson, adjust your strategy, can get back in the game quickly, not recklessly, but decisively. There's magic in momentum. When you fail and keep moving, you stay in the arena. You continue to refine your skill, your message, your craft. You become agile, resilient, dangerous in the best way. The longer you delay after a failure, the heavier it becomes. Self-doubt grows in silence. Action is the antidote. Learn what you need to learn and move. Failing forward also requires detachment from ego. If your identity is wrapped in success, every failure will feel like death. But when your identity is rooted in growth, failure becomes a normal, even welcome part of the process. You stop tying your worth to outcomes, experimentation, and evolution. That's where true freedom begins. Perfectionism is another mask that keeps people from failing forward. It convinces you that you can't start until it's flawless, can't launch until it's safe. But perfection is a lie. Nothing works perfectly the first time, not businesses, not relationships, not creative work. The path to greatness is paved with awkward starts, messy drafts, broken plans, and bold recovery. If you're not failing, you're not pushing your limits. You're not risking enough to grow. Failing forward is also about transparency. Own your failures. Don't hide them. Share them. Learn from them. Let them become stories of strength, not sources of shame. When you hide your mistakes, they own you. When you own your mistakes, they empower you. Every failure you speak about with courage becomes a bridge for someone else who's struggling silently. And finally, failing forward demands resilience. You must decide that no failure will be final, that every closed door is a redirect, that every setback is setting you up. Keep rising, not because you never fall, because falling becomes part of your rhythm. Down, up, fall, rise, again and again, until one day you look back and realize those failures weren't detours. They were the path. So go, try, leap, launch, fall, and then rise faster than you fell. Let the stumbles sharpen you. Let the rejections toughen. You let every misstep teach you something the easy road never could. Fail forward fast, rise, relentless. Chapter 14. Unstoppable energy. Energy is everything. 'Tis the invisible force behind your thoughts, actions, and momentum. You can have the greatest goals in the world, the clearest strategy, and the strongest intentions, but without energy, none of it matters. You can't bring your full presence, power, and vitality into each day. Your dreams remain distant. That's why unstoppable energy isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity for your rise. We often think of energy as something we either have or don't, but energy is a skill. It can be built, protected, and multiplied. It starts with awareness, noticing what gives you energy and what drains it, who lifts your spirit, what activities make time disappear. Where do you feel most alive? These are your energy sources. On the flip side, notice the habits, environments, and people that leave you feeling depleted. You must learn to honor and guard your energy like it's your most valuable currency, because it is. Physical energy is the foundation. Your body is your vehicle for progress. When it's neglected, your dreams suffer. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, and movement aren't side notes to your success. They are the foundation. You can't expect your mind to fire at full power if your body is running on fumes. Getting quality rest is not laziness, it's restoration. Eating clean, vibrant food is not a diet, it's fuel. Moving your body daily, even in simple ways, builds stamina, not just for your muscles, but for your mindset. Relentless energy is created through consistent self-respect. Mental energy is your ability to focus, create, and stay sharp. It's drained by constant multitasking, negative self-talk, and overexposure to digital noise. Every time you switch between tasks, you burn mental fuel. Every moment you spend ruminating on doubts or fears, you leak power. Protecting your mental energy means eliminating distractions, practicing mindfulness, and choosing thoughts that strengthen, not sabotage, your progress. Focus is a form of energy conservation. What you give attention to, you give life to. Emotional energy is your capacity to handle stress, connect with others, and stay grounded under pressure. It's influenced by the quality of your relationships, your inner dialogue, and your ability to regulate emotions. When you're emotionally drained, even small tasks feel heavy. That's why emotional hygiene matters. Journal your thoughts. Talk to someone you trust. Set boundaries with people who deplete you. Celebrate small wins. Emotional energy is renewed through self-awareness and self-compassion. Spiritual energy, regardless of religion or beliefs about connection to something bigger than yourself, is what gives your struggle meaning, your goals, purpose, and your life depth. When you're spiritually energized, you move with conviction. You feel guided. You trust that even in moments of doubt, you are on the right path. Prayer, meditation, nature, service, silence, these are all ways to refuel your spirit. Your rise isn't just about external success, it's about internal alignment. To maintain unstoppable energy, you must live in alignment. When your actions match your values, energy flows. When your work reflects your purpose, energy multiplies. But when you live out of sync, saying yes to things that don't serve you, staying in environments that shrink you, your energy leaks out like water from a cracked vessel. Audit your life regularly. Ask, where am I energized and where am I exhausted? Then adjust. Your energy is not infinite, but it is renewable. With the right habits, the right fuel, and the right mindset, you can become a force of nature, clear, focused, and relentless. Don't just manage your energy, maximize it, protect it, elevate it. 'Cause when your energy is unstoppable, your rise is inevitable. You don't need to wait for inspiration. You don't need to chase hype. You need to build a life that energizes you every single day. And when you do, you'll stop running on empty and start rising on fire, relentlessly. Chapter 15. Surround yourself with fire. No one rises alone. Behind every relentless person is a circle of influence, a group of people who challenge, uplift, push, and sharpen them. These people are not just companions on the journey. They are fire starters. They ignite something inside you that you can't create alone. If you want to rise relentlessly, you must surround yourself with fire, with people who reflect the energy, values, and ambition you aim to live by. Your environment matters. The people around you shape your standards, your self-image, and your beliefs about what's possible. Spend enough time with people who settle, and you'll begin to shrink. Spend enough time with people who strive, and you'll start to stretch. Whether you realize it or not, you become like the people you surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. So is apathy. So is doubt. The question is, what are you catching? You don't need a crowd. You need a crew. It's a few solid, intentional, growth-minded individuals who see your greatness, even when you forget it. People who don't just cheer for your wins, but hold you accountable when you drift. Your friends don't just comfort, they challenge, okay? They don't just accept your excuses, they call you out with love and conviction. They're not afraid to tell you the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, because they care more about your rise than your approval. Surrounding yourself with fire. This doesn't mean cutting off everyone who doesn't share your ambition. It means being conscious of who you give your energy to. Not every conversation deserves your full attention. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your spirit. You can love people and limit your time with them. You can respect others and still protect your growth. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters that allow in what strengthens you, okay, and block out what drains you. One of the most powerful ways to shift your environment is through intentional connection. Seek out people who inspire you, even from a distance. Podcasts, videos, and mentors. These are all sources of fire. Learn from those who are living what you're striving for. Study their habits, absorb their mindset. Their stories remind you of what's possible. Your mentors don't always have to know your name to change your life. Also, be the fire. The energy you give is the energy you attract. If you want a circle of passionate, driven, growth-minded people, become that person first. Lead with integrity. Operate with excellence. Key: be the one who shows up with intensity, focus, and heart. When you do, you'll start attracting others who move the same way. Fire recognizes fire. There will be times when your path feels lonely. Growth can be isolating. Not everyone will understand your vision. Some may even try to discourage you, not out of malice, but out of their own fear. Don't let their limitations become your reality. Instead, seek out those who get it, who speak your language of ambition, struggle, and relentless pursuit. Even one aligned connection can change your trajectory. Remember, you're not just building a life, you're building a legacy. The people around you will either fuel that fire or slowly smother it. Choose intentionally, audit frequently, protect fiercely, because your circle is not just your company, it's your mirror, your momentum, your future. The fire within you is powerful, but when combined with the fire of others, it becomes unstoppable. It becomes a force that can burn through fear, failure, and any obstacle that stands in your way. Round yourself with that fire. Breathe it, feed it, reflect it. Together, you rise faster, stronger, and endlessly relentless. Chapter 16. Bounce back stronger. Asterisk: falling is part of the climb. Every relentless rise is marked with stumbles, missteps, and hard landings. What defines the relentless isn't that they avoid the fall, it's that they bounce back stronger every single time. Resilience is the heartbeat of a life lived with power. It's not just about survival, it's about rebirth. You don't just come back, you come back better. Life will knock you down, sometimes hard, sometimes out of nowhere. A rejection, a failure, a betrayal, a sudden loss. These moments hit like a storm, shaking your identity, your faith, and your footing. In those moments, the temptation is to retreat, to shrink, to hide in the comfort of what's familiar. But the real youth, the resilient you's better. That version of you may fall, but it never stays down. Resilience is a muscle, and like all muscles, it strengthens with use. Every time you get back up, every time you choose to believe again after being broken, you become more powerful. Not because the pain goes away, but because your relationship with it changes. You learn to carry it differently. You learn to turn wounds into wisdom. You realize that strength isn't about avoiding hurt, it's about transforming it into fuel. The first step in bouncing back is permission. Give yourself permission to feel. You are not weak for hurting. You are not broken for crying. Grief, disappointment, and sadness are not signs of failure. They are evidence of your courage to care, to try, to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Let yourself feel it, but don't pitch a tent there. Feel it, then rise from it. There's no growth in denial, but there is power in acceptance. The second step is reflection. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Every fall holds a lesson about your boundaries, your blind spots, your strength. What felt like destruction may actually be direction. What seemed like an ending may be a redirection to something far better. The key is to stay curious. When you look for the gift in the fall, you shift from victim to creator. You take back your power. Next comes decision. You must decide that this setback will not define you, that the version of you who emerges from the rubble will be wiser, stronger, more focused. This decision isn't loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's simply the decision to take one small step forward, to stand up, to breathe again, to try again. and then to repeat that decision every day until it becomes momentum. Bouncing back stronger also requires vision. You must be able to see beyond the moment. Pain narrows your focus. It convinces you that this is all there is. But vision expands it. It reminds you of who you are and where you're going, allows you to rise with purpose, not just with pain. The clearer your vision, the quicker your recovery, and finally, bounce back by becoming better. Don't just return, reinvent. Use what you've learned to elevate every area of your life. Make your habits stronger. Sharpen your mindset. Clarify your boundaries. Upgrade your circle. Rise with refinement. Let the fall refine your fire, not extinguish it. You are not defined by what knocks you down. You are defined by how you rise. And when you rise with wisdom, strength, and an open heart, nothing can keep you grounded for long. Your bounce back becomes your breakthrough. Your pain becomes your platform. So, when life hits hard, don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? Then get up, stand tall, face the world with fire in your chest and light in your eyes. You've been tested, but not defeated, shaken, but not shattered. You fell, yes, but now you rise, and you rise stronger than ever, relentlessly. Chapter 17. The long game asterisk. In a world obsessed with instant results and overnight success, playing the long game has become rare, but it's exactly what separates those who merely start from those who finish strong. The long game is about endurance. It's about commitment. It's about having the patience to build something that lasts rather than chase something that fades. It's knowing that greatness isn't rushed, it's crafted day by day, choice by choice, over time. When you embrace the long game, you stop looking for quick wins and start investing in deep roots. You understand that real progress takes time, and you're willing to keep showing up long after the excitement fades. While others give up when they don't see instant returns, you remain grounded in purpose. You keep climbing because you're not just chasing applause, you're building legacy. The long game demands perspective. It requires you to zoom out from the frustration of today and see the vision of tomorrow. Setbacks feel smaller when you know they're part of a larger story. Failure loses its sting when you realize it's just a chapter, not the conclusion. The long game teaches you to be more focused on direction than speed. A slow, steady rise may not be glamorous, but it's powerful and it's sustainable. One of the biggest challenges in playing the long game is consistency. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always see dramatic results. But the long game isn't about intensity. It's about loyalty. The loyalty to your dream. The loyalty to your future self. The loyalty to the habits that build a life you're proud of. It's doing the work, day in and day out, whether the world notices or not. Discipline becomes your greatest ally. Not discipline rooted in punishment or rigidity, but discipline rooted in devotion. When you love your vision, you respect the process. You commit to showing up on the hard days, the slow days, the invisible days. Because you know something most people forget. True mastery isn't loud. It's quiet. It's hidden in the hours no one sees. It's earned in solitude. The long game also means playing by your own timeline. The world will try to rush you, distract you, and pressure you into shortcuts. But shortcuts often lead to shallow victories. You must resist the urge to compare your journey with someone else's. Your path is unique. Your season is unfolding exactly as it should. Stay rooted. Trust the pace. Honor the process. Fast growth is often fragile. Deep growth is durable. Part of playing the long game is learning to fall in love with the process. Celebrate the small wins. Take pride in the progress no one else notices. Find joy in becoming better, not just in achieving more. When you fall in love with the climb, the summit becomes inevitable. Because it's no longer about arriving gates, about who you become along the way. Playing the long game also gives you clarity. It helps you say no to distractions that offer short-term gratification but cause long-term fulfillment. You start thinking in decades, not just days. You begin making choices today that your future self will thank you for. That kind of thinking creates power. It creates peace, creates permanence, and perhaps the most beautiful part of the long game is that it builds character. Not just results, but resilience. Not just success, but soul. It's the path of maturity, the path of depth, it's the path of greatness. So if your rise feels slow, if your journey feels unseen, don't lose heart. You're not behind. You're not off track. You're just playing the long game. And the long game rewards those who refuse to quit, who trust the climb, who rise not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Relentlessly. Chapter 1:8. Create impact. Not just income. There's nothing wrong with wanting to earn. Money matters. It brings freedom, opportunity, and access. It fuels your dreams, supports your family, and gives you options. But income alone is a shallow target. If your only goal is to make money, you might gain wealth, but lose yourself in the process. True fulfillment doesn't come from what you collect, comes from what you contribute. That's why the relentless don't just chase income, they create impact. Impact is the ripple effect of a meaningful life. It's the way your work, your presence, your story affects others. It's the fingerprints you leave on people's hearts and minds long after you're gone. You don't need millions of followers or a massive platform to make an impact. You just need intention. Need to care enough to do something that matters, not just to you, but to the world around you. Chasing only money leads to burnout, emptiness, and eventually boredom. Why? Because the soul was not designed to be fueled by profit alone. You were made to build, to serve, to uplift, to create something that matters. Money is a tool, not the mission. It's a vehicle, not the destination. And when you shift from asking, how much can I earn, to how much can I contribute, everything changes. Impact gives your work depth. It infuses your daily grind with meaning. Even the mundane becomes sacred when it's connected to a higher purpose. Whether you're leading a company, writing a book, designing a product, queuing a class, or cleaning a floor, when you show up to serve, to elevate, to leave people better than you found them, you're making impact. Creating impact also sharpens your focus. You stop wasting time on shallow pursuits and start pouring energy into what truly matters. You begin to value quality over quantity, meaning over metrics, service over status. You stop chasing what looks good and start creating what feels right. That kind of clarity breeds power. When you lead with impact, people notice, because impact is magnetic. A key draws others in, not because you're loud, but because you're real. Key, you operate from integrity. You speak with purpose. Key, you build things that solve problems, that inspire growth, that bring light. You become a force, not just for success, but for significance. You also begin to see money differently. It's no longer just about survival or status. It becomes a byproduct of service. The more value you provide, the more you earn. The more lives you touch, the more opportunities open up. And the more aligned your income becomes with your impact, the more fulfilled and focused you feel. That's the sweet spot. It's where purpose meets prosperity. But creating impact requires courage. It means being honest about what you stand for. It means caring deeply in a world that often rewards apathy. It means choosing legacy over likes, mission over marketing, and depth over convenience. And it means showing up with consistency, knowing that the seeds you plant today may not bloom for years, but they will bloom. Creating impact doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming intentional. It means asking yourself daily, who am I helping? How am I serving? What change am I creating by simply being fully present, fully alive, and fully committed to growth? You have something to give. Your story, your struggles, your skills, they are not just for you. They are tools meant to serve, uplift, and empower others. Don't keep them to yourself. Use them. Share them. Let your life be a lighthouse for someone still stuck in the storm. The relentless rise is not about becoming rich for the sake of riches. It's about becoming impactful, valuable, and unforgettable. Make money, build wealth, but don't stop there. Create change, create meaning, create legacy, create impact, okay? And watch your life multiply in ways no paycheck ever could. Relentlessly. Chapter 19. Legacy in motion. Legacy isn't something you leave behind. It's something you live into. It's not a final chapter. It's the story you write every single day through your actions, your choices, and your presence. Most people think of legacy as something built later, something reserved for old age or written in eulogies. But the truth is, legacy is always in motion. It's not about waiting. It's about becoming. Every word you speak, every promise you keep, every hand you lift leaves an impression. You are shaping your legacy right now in your relationships, your work, your discipline, your generosity, the way you treat people, the way you respond to failure. It's the way you lead when no one is watching. These moments add up quietly, powerfully, permanently. The relentless don't wait for permission to start building legacy. They know that greatness isn't found in titles or trophies. It's found in impact. They live with the awareness that time is short and influence is real. Okay? Move through the world knowing they may not always control the outcome, but they always control their integrity. Legacy is character in motion. Living a legacy means choosing substance over image. We live in a world obsessed with being seen, with being followed, with being liked. But legacy isn't about visibility. It's about value. It's about building something so rooted in truth that even if the spotlight fades, the impact remains. It's about being the same person in private that you are in public. That kind of authenticity echoes long after your voice has gone quiet. Legacy is also about courage. The courage to be the first in your family to break a cycle. It's the courage to speak up when silence is safer. It's the courage to do the hard thing when the easy option would be more comfortable. Every act of courage expands your legacy. It shows others what's possible. It raises the standard, not just for you, but for everyone who comes after. Your legacy is written not only in what you do, but in what you build. The business you launch, the child you raise, the movement you start, the book you write, these are all extensions of your spirit. They outlive your presence. They become evidence of your intention. So build boldly. Don't just ask what you can gain, okay? Ask what you can give. Don't just seek to succeed. Seek to serve. But perhaps the most powerful form of legacy is how you make people feel, the conversations you have, the kindness you extend, the belief you place in someone who's forgotten their worth. These small gestures, these human moments, become defining memories in someone else's story. People may forget what you said. They may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. You don't have to be famous to build a legacy. You don't need a massive platform or global recognition. You just need heart. You just need to live each day with purpose, presence, and a deep desire to leave the world better than you found it. Your legacy is not a future achievement, it's a present decision. Start now with what you have, where you are. Be the kind of person whose absence is felt because their presence was so full of light. Be the kind of person whose story inspires others to write their own. Let your life be a message. Let your journey be an example. Let your days be a testament to what relentless living really looks like. Because when it's all said and done, it won't be the noise that echoes, it will be the meaning. It won't be the money or the medals. It will be the hearts you touched, the lives you shaped, and the fire you passed on. Live your legacy while you still can, relentlessly. Chapter 20. You are the revolution. The world doesn't need another follower. It doesn't need another echo. It doesn't need another person going through the motions, hiding behind fear and playing small. What it needs desperately is people who are alive, people who are awake, people who are willing to stand for something, to rise for something, to live with such fire and clarity that they become the spark that sets everything else in motion. And that person is you. You are not just here to exist. You are here to disrupt, to uplift, to create, to evolve. You are here to rewrite patterns that have held generations captive. You are here to break cycles, heal wounds, and show others that it's possible to live a life fueled by purpose, not fear. Every choice you make, how you love, how you speak, how you rise, creates a ripple. And when you choose to rise relentlessly, you don't just change your life, you start a revolution. This revolution doesn't require permission. It doesn't need a crowd or a stage. It starts quietly within you. It starts when you stop apologizing for your power, when you stop dimming your light to make others comfortable, when you stop waiting for the perfect moment and instead declare, this moment is mine. It starts when you wake up with intention and move through the day as if your life has meaning, because it does. Revolution is not always loud. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing self-respect, setting boundaries, speaking your truth, walking away from what no longer aligns, taking the first step toward a dream you've buried under years of doubt. Every one of these acts is revolutionary in a world that expects you to conform, to remain small, to stay silent. The revolution you are here to lead begins in your mind, in the decision to believe in yourself when it would be easier not to. The discipline to keep going when progress feels invisible, and the courage to rise after every fall. You are not weak for struggling, you are strong for continuing. And every time you rise, you raise the standard for everyone around you. You are the proof that transformation is possible, that healing is possible, that growth is worth the fight. You don't have to be perfect to lead. You just have to be honest. You just have to be real. You just have to show others what it looks like to live with heart, with grit, with a fire that doesn't fade when things get hard. This chapter isn't a conclusion, it's a call to rise one more time, a call to hold your head high, even when your knees shake, a call to remember who you are and why you started, a call to stop shrinking for a world that needs your full height. The book may end here, but your revolution is just beginning. You are not ordinary. You are not random. You are not accidental. You are a force of change. You are the light in someone's darkness. You are the hope in someone's silence. Are the revolution waiting to be unleashed? And from this day forward, you don't walk, you march, with purpose, with fire, with relentless focus on who you are becoming and the world you are building. You speak with power. You move with grace. You live with a level of intensity that reminds people what it means to be fully alive. So go become, go break through, go rise. And when the world asks, who do you think you are? Look it in the eye and say, I am the revolution. Rise like it, relentlessly.